Live Facebook world here.
Wonderful.
Let me get in and share this to the Facebook group. What's up, everybody? Good to see you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'm just going to get this posted out to the Facebook groups. Jason, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about why we're here, what we're going to learn about? We're going to learn about you and your area and investments. And so tell us a little bit about what you've got going on. Tell the whole Savvy story too, because I think that's interesting, the customer to agent journey.
Yeah. So I guess it started, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago, or maybe longer than that. I had reached out just from somebody that I think bought a home from you. And I was interested in the Asheville, Waynesville, Maggie Valley area, and ended up coming there, looking at some homes with Grace, and didn't end up buying something, but just looking for. We were looking for something in the mountains. So we have a couple of properties in Florida, and then we have one here locally in the Indianapolis market, and just looking to expand a little bit. So that was my first experience. And then when I saw that you guys were kind of expanding around to other markets, I thought this is kind of fun. I enjoy this part of real estate. I've been doing real estate for 22 years, and this is probably one of my more fun sections of it.
Yeah.
I like this market, so I thought, well, this would be a good opportunity. So join the team and off to the races, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So, all right. So short-term rentals, Indianapolis, Indiana, what do we need to know? Like, I know nothing about the market other than it's a fairly decent for sports tourism, right? College sports tourism. So what's the whole attraction there?
So definitely sports. I mean, some colleges, but I mean, we have the Pacers, we have the Colts, we have the Indianapolis 500, which is the largest single-day sporting event in the world. The NASCAR Brickyard 400. There's all kinds of events at the Speedway. We have WNBA Fever, which has Caitlin Clark, which has blown up. So everybody loves going to visit that. And then we are in the top 10, I think, nationally for conventions. So we have a big convention center downtown that it brings in all kinds of people to that as well. So just a lot of tourism in that aspect. Super easy city to get around. I mean, it's a big city, yet it is a small city. So you can park in one spot and you can walk around everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's good like that. I mean, I call it it is a big city, but you get that hometown feel, I think.
Yeah. Got it. So a lot of sports tourism coming in, especially on the college level, but then obviously the NASCAR. I didn't even think of NASCAR, and definitely didn't know it was the number one. You said the number one sporting event in the what is that?
Single day sporting event, because it holds over 400,000 people.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah,
that's amazing. So, what does a good short-term rental look like in Indianapolis?
Well, just using mine for example, the one I have. I mean, it's a 4-bedroom property. I've got a pool, which I love to either have a pool or some sort of water feature, hot tub or something like that. But I like to have I think you can be fine with, if you're downtown Indianapolis, I think you can be okay with the 2-3 bedroom. I think if you're on the outskirts, I think it's probably better to be 3, 4, or even more bedrooms, just to increase that occupancy.
Yeah.
It's really easy to get around as well. So like we're on the south side of Indianapolis, but I can be downtown in 20, 25 minutes. So
yeah.
It's pretty simple to get around from all sides of town. So
cool.
You can get everywhere you need to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. So. I know you did a video the other day on your place in Indianapolis with the pool. What was that journey like from buying it? And then what did it do? I think you've had it over a year now, right?
No, I just went live in March.
Okay. Yeah. So what has it done since then?
So I think when I did the video, I think it was August 30th or something to that effect. It was about 160 days. It had been occupied 90% of the time. So from when we went live, March 24th. So it's just been wild. It stayed occupied, and we're super excited about it. And it's continued. I mean, we're gonna tail off as we get colder, I think. You know, there is some seasonality for sure, but we will still drive because we have events all throughout the year, not just in the summertime. So
yeah,
but it's been really good. We will probably we'll do over 20% on on our return on that
okay.
in the first year.
Break
So,
it down for us. What did you buy it for? What did you have to put into it? And then what do you think it's going to do in gross revenue in year one?
so we bought it for 405, put about, I would say 60,000 in it with just furnishings, and we, added a few things, and we turned the garage into a game room, so we put heating and cooling out there,
Okay.
so we can use all throughout the year. Put a heater on the pool so we can keep it open longer and open it up earlier, and so we'll do. I think we're on pace to do about 90,000 the first 12 months.
Wow. So 90,000 on a $400,000 investment, which is incredible. How much did you have to put into the house? It doesn't sound like, when everybody's out there talking about big super properties right now, like in Asheville, we have to put 100 or 200,000 now into properties for them to compete. And, that's a little bit scary. It's a little bit risky. So is it the same there? Do you have to go crazy with amenities and design? Or are you saying that this is almost more of a starter area, kind of like an emerging market?
So I put about 60 into it. So it was in really good shape when we bought it. So all we had to do was furnish it. We painted one room. Like I said, we kind of put the heating and cooling in the garage and then the pool. But we didn't have to do much to it. So I don't know that it's an emerging market, but it's a market that where I feel like you can stand out if you do it correctly and do it as a super host kind of aspect. You can stand out because I feel like there's a lot of other, I say mom and pop, like I'm going to throw my house online and see how it does. But, we're on multiple booking platforms, and we just try to do the best we can in marketing, and I think it's worked. So.
Yeah. So not a lot of competition is kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at some of the numbers. I mean, I think if we look at like, I'm looking down on my notes here. Like, if you look at the Smokies, they have like 25,000 properties there, according to AirDNA, and we have like 7,500.
Yeah.
So, yes, when you look at some of the bigger cities, like we're in the middle of Cincinnati, Louisville, St. Louis, Chicago. We're on par with them. I mean, Chicago has double what we have, but they're obviously much, much larger. So,
wow. What do you think the tourism landscape looks like going into the future? Like what's new? What's coming to town? What's going to give people an edge?
Indy is amazing at bringing in, and I think we're the home of the NCAA. So we have the Final Four here every 4 years or so. Like we have it in 2026. It's in 2029 as well. It'll keep going. It'll be, they haven't announced it since then, but it'll be 4 years later. We're always hosting the games leading up to the Final Four, so there's always some activity, for that sort of week. We have the Big Ten football conference championships through 2028. I mean, we're home to the NFL Combine since 1987. It's been in Indy every single year. So we just keep bringing that stuff. We had a Super Bowl. It's been like 10 years ago, but they're trying to get another one. Hopefully that would happen. Everybody loved it. I mean, it was obviously people were probably like going to Miami in February over Indy, but but we do have like the downtown is really cool in the fact that there's all kinds of tunnels and pathways that you don't have to get outside if it is cold, so you can walk almost everywhere indoors.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, the numbers on AirDNA look pretty good. I mean, I'm looking right now at the market overview of Indianapolis, and annual revenue's up 6%, average daily rates up 6%, and revenue per available rental is up 5%. But what I think for me is the most striking is the booking demand. You know, this is not like a traditional vacation market, like a tourism vacation market, like a beach or like the mountains would be. And so you have this 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. They're kind of actually all similar. So pre and then post COVID. But man, if you look at 2023, and if y'all are interested in this information and you actually want to see these graphs, please comment below and we'll DM these graphs to you directly from the AirDNA advanced version, which costs a lot of money that we pay for so that we can help y'all with the insights that you need to make your short-term rental investments. But I think what's really interesting for me is just looking, August of 2024 was the biggest month for short-term rentals ever in Indianapolis. Just last month was the biggest month ever. The most listing days booked at almost 55,000, where August of 2023 was 47,000 and August of 2022 was 38,000, all the way up to 55,000. So you're looking at, a demand for short-term rentals doubling in the last 2 years. Is that kind of what you've seen in the area, and that's why you jumped into the market yourself?
So I'm going to go with a long-winded story here.
Yeah.
So I said we have some properties in Florida. I'm not a big fan of the cold weather. So we almost in 2022 decided to move to one of our properties in Florida. And we were going to stay there for a year. And if we liked it, we'd stay longer or just come back. And we ended up not doing that, but we changed our plans and we went around for 10 months, we worked remotely and homeschooled our kids and went around the country and visited all 48 lower states. And so it was one of the most amazing things we've ever done as a family.
Yeah.
So we moved about every 5 to 7 days and we stayed in short-term rentals the entire time. So I definitely have a background of staying in lots of places. But when we did that, we took our personal home, which I'm staying in right now, and rented that out. And we were blown away. We were like, I didn't think this many people would come to Greenwood, Indiana, which is the south suburb of Indy. And so that kind of spurred us doing, buying one here. I was like, I just thought, why are people coming here? And so, yes, we don't get week-long stays. Most of our stays are 2 to 3 days. But they're in for an event, or they're in to meet family, or they are in, some people are on vacation. Some people do vacation here just to check out the cities. So,
and I'm sure they come and they visit family, they visit friends. You mentioned a lot of conferences, which would be typically longer stays as well. But even booking lead time is up 5% year over year in Indianapolis. I think one thing that I'm looking at is the total amount of revenue. So a lot of these areas post-COVID, if you divide the revenue by the number of listings, it's down. But Indianapolis looks like overall it's up 5% in the revenue per available rental. But what's striking to me is the amount of revenue spent in July of 2024, which was about $15 million. And then if you go back to July of 2023, $9.5 million. So it's up 50% in the amount of revenue that people are spending on short-term rentals in just a short year. So I'm really interested to see what that's going to look like next year. And that's 50% is not just inflation, right? That's truly more people coming to the area and spending money on short-term rentals. Do you see that people are shifting from hotels to short-term rentals, or what do you think is causing that?
I think just nationally that's the case, right? We are a family of 5. When I travel somewhere, I don't want to stay in a hotel. It's hard to stay in a hotel room. So we always choose to stay somewhere in an STR if possible. And so I think a lot of people do that, especially if you got a big enough property where you can get 2 families in one, and then share the expense. And it's just a no-brainer, I think, for most people. Save money on cooking in the house, and don't have to go out to eat everywhere. So I think so.
What do you think is the best sort of bedroom count there? And is that single family homes, condos?
I think it's single family, and I think if I was going to buy another one here, I wouldn't buy anything under 4. But that's what I would want.
So 4+ bedrooms. You think
Yeah.
bigger groups is kind of like the main, that's where people are spending the money at least.
Yeah, well, I think you can do fine with the 3 bedroom probably if you have some additional space or you have more bed count. But I would prefer a 4, if
Yeah.
me personally.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And condos, not something that you want to invest there?
I think if you were downtown, like downtown, and I think you could do that absolutely.
Okay.
But most of the condos, most of them don't allow short-term rentals, so we just have to be cautious of that. Some of them
Okay.
do, but most of them don't. So there's a list of some of them that do. So
Yeah. Interesting. That's really cool. Yeah, I'm looking through and I'm kind of analyzing per bedroom count on AirDNA right now. And actually, I think you're totally right on 4 bedrooms specifically. Even if you go to 5 bedrooms, the numbers actually get worse than a 4 bedroom. It seems to be that 4 bedroom or a 6 and up bedroom is really where it's at. But the 4 bedroom number specifically is where it actually got into double-digit increases year over year, and where even occupancy went up, which is really rare to see right now on an average annualized AirDNA search. But 4 bedrooms, annual revenue is up 10%, average daily rates are up 7%, revenue per available rentals up 9%, and even occupancy is up 2% compared to the rest of the market. One thing that was really striking for me, I mean, and you tell me what's available there, but the 6 bedroom plus, this category went from like 50,000 for a 4 bedroom, and this is on average, right? And we focus on super properties and all of that with savvy STR agents, but a 6 bedroom went to $105,000 on average revenue, average annual revenue, and occupancy rate was actually up 8% year over year. What's the availability of 6 bedroom properties there, and how much do those cost?
I think you would get it. I think there's probably an opportunity there, but we would have to be very careful because I think it could get costly. Um, Now, I think we are always ranked in the top 10 of most affordable big cities, so we do have a nice price point. Um, so I think that's good, but I think once you get into the 6 bedrooms, um, you know, we gotta be careful to really um, analyze that properly.
Yeah,
We wouldn't
and
want to
just
get
make sure
somebody in
you're
trouble getting into something like that.
okay. Yeah,
If you
got
get
it.
into real costly, property.
Okay, got it. What is a 4 bedroom? What does that look like there?
I think the sweet spot is 250 to 650.
Okay. So
So,
this is really a market that somebody can get into with a little bit of a lower budget than most people think they can get into nowadays.
oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
very cool. What sort of advice do you have for first-time investors there? Is this an easy place to get contractors and cleaners and stuff like that? And how do you help with things like that?
Yeah, and I can hook them up with people that I know and relationships that we have. Um, the and somebody put on there, what are the regulations? Asked about the regulations. We are very STR friendly for sure.
Hmm.
So um, there's not much you have to do. Um, there's some stuff in the pipeline where you're gonna have to fill out some and I guess register all properties, at least in Marion County, which is the Indianapolis area.
Hmm.
But in the area we're at, you don't even have to have a permit. So,
Wow, that's great. Okay, and then what does seasonality look like there?
I mean, definitely the summertime is going to be the best time of year. But I mean, like from March to the end of August, I was 90% occupied. So, you know, as we get colder, it's going to slow down a little bit for sure.
Yeah. We've got Bill in the comments who said his wife and him own a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house in the Brockville area. They've added some amenities to it, and they just went live in September, and their occupancy rate right now for September is right around 80%. And Bill, thank you for sharing this. We really appreciate this sort of information, because this helps other people figure out how they should make investments or not. So that's definitely an abundance mindset right there. Said October is filling up in November as well lately. They have a hot tub, which there's not very many at all in that area. And Ripple area, the Broad Ripple, has a lot of nightclub, bars, restaurants, things like that. So are those areas that you would recommend?
Yeah, Broad Ripple is very popular. So it's on the north side of Indy. But yeah, super, super popular area. You can get downtown very easily. You can get up to the north side, like Carmel area. There's all kinds of sporting events up there as well. There's Westfield is a town up on the north side that has a place called Grand Park, which is one of the largest like youth sporting events locations in the country. I say youth, but that's probably the majority of it. But they have so many soccer and softball and baseball fields. The Colts do their training camp there.
Yeah,
it's a big draw for people coming in for sure.
Got it. Okay. So we were talking a little bit about seasonality. You know, summer's really the best, but is this more of a year-round market, or is it kind of like the beach where you really have to make your money in just a couple of months and then the rest of the year is going to be more dead?
No, I think it's year-round. Like I said, we will slow down some, but
yeah,
you know, if you look at a beach town, I use Price Labs, and I think you do too.
Yeah.
And it shows events. Like when I look at the beach town that we are in, it doesn't have any events really. But when I look at here locally, there's events all year round. So, oh man, I'm hoping that my dog doesn't go crazy here in a second. Because we got an Amazon driver coming up to my house.
No worries. What do first-time investors need to know in the area?
I think they just need to get with somebody that knows what they're looking for. Who knows what they're looking at, right?
Yeah.
So I think you just can't be with somebody that.
So someone like you.
I think so. I mean, somebody has some experience. So
yeah,
I think that I would feel more comfortable going into something if I knew somebody that had experience.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's what the agents here are all about. Yeah, Trish says, get with you. Anwar has a good question, and Anwar is a savvy STR agent's client, even though he never buys anything in Asheville, even when he terminates on them. I'm just kidding, Anwar. So he says, are there any proposed changes for short-term rental regulations? St. Louis, I don't even know if I'm saying that right. St. Louis just passed sweeping regulations for short-term rentals that have greatly curtailed the return on investment and resale of short-term rentals in St. Louis. So what is that going to look like in Indiana? What does the environment there look like?
No, there's nothing. I mean, like I said, there's something that's going to get voted on where you have to register properties. But there's nothing that's like I said, they're very, very STR friendly.
What is the sentiment like in the area? Are neighborhoods all up in arms? Is it pitchforks and torches? What does that all look like?
There's some, but I think they're a good host, they're a bad host, right? And so a few bad hosts will give the whole industry a bad name, right? And so I think there's some of that. In some markets in the downtown market, there's been some of that recently, where people are having parties or that kind of thing. But I think you just have to have good hosts that restrict that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, we can't control all that, right?
Yeah. Is that like a big party market, kind of like Nashville is, or is this more family friendly? What type of travelers do you get?
I think in the downtown market, you're going to have maybe some more party stuff, and maybe in the Broad Ripple area too, because it's very college friendly for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But you could have some more parties for sure.
Yeah. I see, actually, I was looking through AirDNA and I see a 5-bedroom house here that's got a mod pool. And this thing's doing $181,000 a year in revenue, 91% occupancy. Is that sort of thing possible over there, is to hit those sort of numbers? I mean, it looks like it. This place has everything you could think of: a hot tub, it's got the mod pool, it's got all sorts of great outdoor amenities. It looks like it's newer and more updated. It's got some nice lifestyle photography. Can you do that much revenue over there?
Oh, I think so. I think so. I will. I I feel like we could do a lot better on ours personally. Just raising prices. I didn't do it going in initially, and I'll probably slow down. I won't do it right here as we go into the colder months.
Hmm.
But as soon as we turn, I think you know get established and then start raising your rates.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
I think
certainly what this
90%.
house shows.
Yeah, personally, I think 90% is too much. Right? I would
Agreed.
rather be like 70%, but
Yeah.
get higher rents.
I think that this host learned that because in July of 2023 they did 14,000 in revenue. In July of 2024 they did $22,000 in revenue, and even August did 20,000 in revenue. This place with the mod pool, and a mod pool is a big investment, but the place looks awesome, and it looks like, I mean, what would a 5-bedroom house kind of in outside of downtown, kind of by, I don't know if you know, East Pleasant Run Parkway North, kind of off of the river there. What would a 5-bedroom house over there run? If you know the area I'm talking about. I don't know a lot about Indianapolis. I'm learning now.
Yeah, you're probably. I think there's pockets over there that are better than others, but you can be in the 4 to 5s
Wow. For a 5-bedroom house?
potentially.
Wow, that's amazing. That's so cheap. And then potentially do 181,000 in revenue. Obviously, this is all decked out with all the amenities, and he's made back all of his money in 1 year in terms of what he had to put into the property, and for the rest of time, everything else is profit.
Yeah,
Wow. I mean, that's the good story in short-term rentals right there.
yeah, those are good numbers for sure.
Are you in the market for another one?
No, potentially.
So, all right, what else do we need to know about Indianapolis, Indiana?
I think you need to come visit it.
I know.
I-
I feel like I have been there. When I was in my early 20s, I actually traveled with a music festival company, and I do think I came there, in fact, but we only stayed overnight. So it looks like, yeah, definitely, it does look like a good opportunity if you do have the capital to come in here and build a super property, that it would be even cheaper, I think, than what Trish is saying. I don't think you have to spend 750,000 or 1.1 million, right?
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, it sounds more like this is like a 5, or maybe if you went up to 650, like that would be a top tier property already.
Yeah, and I
And
think putting all the amenities in will just be so beneficial.
some of these markets, 650 is like the starting point now. I always tell everyone the best budget in Nashville is 700 to $1 million. That's where you get the best bang for your buck. And it sounds like what you're saying is like 300 to 600 is really the best bang for your buck there.
I think so.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Well, Jason, I think that's everything. We don't have any more comments here. I feel like you've gone over everything really well. Y'all, if you want to see this data on AirDNA that I'm going over, let me know in the comments, and Jason and I can possibly even hop on and do like a loom on this, and then we could DM it back to you. So please leave a comment and let us know if you want to see that AirDNA data that's up so significantly for Indianapolis. And we subscribe to the advanced version of AirDNA, so we've got pre-COVID data all the way up to today, and that's been really important for us and our clients on how we make investment decisions, because we can see what the trend line looks like. I've talked with a lot of agents about this in the last couple of months, this myth that, well, we have to look at pre-COVID data, and I just don't see that happening anywhere in the country so far. Even in those oversaturated markets that people say you can't make any money in anymore, even in those markets, time and time again, we've shown 2023 2024 to be significantly above 2019 or 2020, early 2020. So I think it is important to look at, though, because you want to see what is the trend of the booking demand over time and how much is that exponentially increasing, especially in relation to how many new listings are coming on board. So I guess that would be my final question then, Jason. Is this area getting saturated, or what does that look like? Is this kind of just the beginning for short-term rentals in Indianapolis?
Yeah, I don't think it's the beginning, but we are far from saturated. So I think there's a lot of room to grow for sure,
Yeah.
especially for the professional host.
And it's actually interesting. There is a graph here that shows how much revenue did listings earn per month, and it's a line graph, and it shows 2024 is a line, 2019, 2022. In most markets, averaged overall the listings, because this is how much revenue did each listing earn per month on average. In almost every market, 2019, 2020, 2021 is above 2023 and 2024, but it's not the case actually for Indianapolis. 2024 by far and large is at the top. This is where listings are making the most money, is now, and not any other year before this. So, I know you said it's not an emerging market, and it's obviously not a new market, but I do think that this might be emerging onto the scene as somewhere to really kind of take a look into a place where you can make a lot of revenue, but there's not a lot of competition, especially with the fact that there's been 50% more revenue spent in July of 2024 than there was in July of 2023 on short-term rentals, another $5 million, and it was only $10 million last year. So that was really interesting to me. Did any of those stats shock you, or this is just run of the mill? This is just the daily life of a super rich Indianapolis Airbnb host.
No, I didn't. I guess I didn't realize that the 2024 was so much higher. So
It's really good. Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad that we were able to learn a little bit about it, and all of our clients were here too. So we're going to email out this video. Again, if you want to see some of that data more in depth, just leave a comment below. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Thanks, Jason, for coming to hang out with me for a little bit. And we'll see y'all